questions I'm going to answer today. The first one from a parent. Who should decide, the parent or the child? When to practice, how much to practice, and whether to continue taking lessons? Who should decide, the parent or the child, how much to practice? Neither the parent or the child should decide that. That's the teacher's decision. When you juxtapose a parent and a child in a decision-making process, all that's going to do is bring out some headbutting. It's wonderful to have a teacher to blame everything on. Wow, Mrs. So-and-so said you have to practice this long, and I'm just following directions. And you need to follow directions too. That could be the stance of the parent. But it's not the parent or the child's decision. It could twist a little, but it could be, well, we have to do 30 minutes. Let's do 15 minutes now, 15 minutes after dinner. In that case, you might need to make some joint decisions as to how to get the time in best. But any chance you have to separate you from your kid and any headbutting, I would take advantage of it. When to practice, that's the same thing. You'll have to decide yourself. If you have a terrible time deciding, ask the teacher to make the decision. You have to do your practicing before you go to school. Yes, you will have to set up your alarm to wake up a half an hour earlier. And then both the parent and the child are just following the directions of the teacher. And of course, they respect the teacher, right? So you follow the directions. Whether to continue taking lessons. I'm pretty opinionated about this one. I don't think it's the child's decision until they're in middle school. I truly believe it's the parent's decision all throughout the elementary school years. Whether it's good, bad, ugly, it's the parent's decision. And by the time they get to middle school, things change. That's the point where the child needs to take ownership of their playing. They should start taking their own notes during the lessons. They should be participating in any groups or ensembles that they can at school. If they've been bit by the bug at this point, they will continue. And if not, they'll discontinue. But be rest assured that they've had a wonderful foundation of music throughout their elementary school years. The last question I'm going to address is a playing one. Pinkies. I'm going to talk about my spoil the pinky routine here. They're only as long as they're ever going to be. I'm going to just show you my favorite example. If you put the first finger down and reach as far as you can, that's as far as I can reach. Now, I'm just going to let go of everything but my pinky, and I'm going to mark that spot. I'm even going to adjust some on my fingertip so it's a little more comfortable. And now I'm going to reach backwards. And look what just happened. I could reach so much farther backwards. So the first issue about the pinky is actually the pointer finger. If you're clenching and keeping this shape, you're losing out on all the flexibility and length of that finger. If you have a particularly small hand and a small pinky, your hand position may be one where the first finger is actually back a little bit so that the pinky can be spoiled. Now, here's the other spoil the pinky regime I like to do. If you take your hand out here, curl your pinky, and then bring your hand to the violin and see what the rest of you has to do. Where does your elbow have to go? What is your arm and shoulder doing? Rather than clamping the first finger and reaching up, we're saying, no, let's place the pinky where it's comfortable. What does the rest of my body have to do? The last thing is, if at all possible, to keep the ring finger down with the pinky, whether it's a whole step or a half step. Until the pinky gets its own strength, it can rely on the third finger. Please keep emailing me your questions, and I look forward to answering more.